Shining.
All right, welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to The Shining. That's never gonna get old, by the way. Hello and welcome to the Stephen King Read-a-thon, where we are slowly working our way through all of Stephen King's fiction in publication order. We've already read. What have we read, Jordan? Tell the people what we've read.
Started off with Carrie, then we went to Salem's Lot, also known as Jerusalem's Lot, but not called Jerusalem's Lot, just Salem's Lot.
The town is Jerusalem's Lot, but the book is Salem's Lot.
That's right. And now we're reading The Shining.
Yeah, and we've been doing this. Didn't we start this almost a year
It was just
ago?
like a month ago. We've been flying through this, so glad you stuck with us.
Our beards have developed. It's been a while. So
about it, like each video, I have a different
I've noticed that
style, like just a mustache or clean shaven.
Yeah, I shave once in a while, and then I just let it go for like as long as I can, and then I shave, and then I just let it go. I don't really style it. But you've got, I'm just gonna say it again, Jordan. You've got a beautiful, luscious facial hair. You can do anything you want with that. You could do a Fu Manchu like all the way down.
Yeah, try that on the next video.
That'd be great. Let's see. If you haven't seen our earlier videos, you guys, you should go check them out. This is a part of a playlist. Especially, today we're going to be discussing part 2 of The Shining. So you should probably go back and watch part 1. Don't be weird and watch part 2 first.
And it's going to have some spoilers in it, so you don't want that.
A little bit. And I think that's basically all. Anyway, if you want to like it or comment or subscribe, I guess you could do that if you wanted to. But, I'm not saying that that's like a thing you have to do or anything.
Yeah, you just can't watch videos if you don't do it. But
that's true. That's true. The YouTube police they'll come for you. I'll send them. Anyway, you better subscribe. So, yeah. Part 2 of The Shining. What was it called?
The opening day. Opening time. The openness. Closing day.
It's called Closing Day. There we go. Closing Day. Part 2. This is chapter 8 through 13, I think. And how are we gonna do this? We're gonna show little clips of our reactions and stuff, right? So we're not gonna we won't discuss too much of like what happened, because in those clips we kind of talk about chapter by chapter, very briefly what happened. But here we can just kind of talk about our reactions and things, I guess.
I like that.
So roll the clip. Johnny, roll the clip.
Get out. Yeah.
Danny, Wendy, and Jack are heading up to the Outlook Hotel. It's the job that Jack has just recently gotten. They're heading up there in their little VW bug, and they're going through these mountain passes, way far away from any big cities or anything. They get up on this overlook, and they see these mountains. It's just a breathtaking views. Something that I'm noticing though is that it may be a little bit foreshadowing of things that it's saying in here, of something bad to come, because they are heading out in the middle of nowhere, nobody else around. They're going to be the only ones there. They have this little VW bug that is barely making it up. The reason that they're pulling over is because it's like barely making 5 miles an hour up this mountain pass, and then once it snows, like, they're cut off. So if anybody gets hurt, anything happens, like, they have to fend for themselves, and so that's a little bit sketchy to me. Something's probably going to happen just because it's setting it up for that. And then at the end of the chapter, you learn about this ominous word called red rum. So I'm going to find out what that has to do with whatever.
The Torrance family has just arrived at the hotel. It's closing day. It's the last day of the season, so all the guests are leaving. And the parents, Jack and Wendy, they're having a nice time. They're flirting with each other and just really happy. But Danny feels weird, and he throughout the chapter, there's a few moments where there's these weird statements that just come out of nowhere, and they're in parentheses and they're in italics, but they don't fit with the context around them. And then at the end of the chapter, you realize it's Danny hearing other people's thoughts.
All right, chapter 10 is called Halloran. So we're meeting this guy. It's all about this guy named Halloran. He's the main chef or the cook at the Outlook Hotel. He's this older black man. He's got a big afro. Danny describes him as something that you'd think like a high class chef, kind of like a Pillsbury Doughboy guy with a thin mustache. Nothing like that. Really serious. Halloran's this super friendly, super nice guy. Always got a big smile on his face. Pretty much the opposite of the guy the general manager of the hotel, Mr. Ullman. He's kind of welcoming. He takes a special liking to Danny, just trying to help him feel at home. He's showing him around the kitchen, just showing him different things that they can use while they're going to be there over the winter. Keeps telling Danny, hey, you want to come to Florida with me? It gets kind of crazy out here and stuff. So pretty much just kind of introducing this character and giving him background and everything like that.
So this chapter is actually called The Shining, and we find out now why the book is called The Shining, what The Shining is. So this guy Halloran, in the last chapter, I was wondering, why are we spending so much time with this chef? Turns out that he has a sort of telekinesis type of mental precognition, I guess they call it, this sort of weird mental power. And during the tour of the kitchen, he and Danny were sort of communicating mentally with each other. So he takes Danny off to the side and he tells him, he's like, you shine on, boy. I call it the shining or whatever like that. I don't know. So anyway, we get a lot of exposition in this chapter, and we learn that there are people who have this ability, and Danny is really, really powerful. His is really strong. And and then the chef tells them, this is an old hotel. There's bad things that have happened here, and I've seen things, so you better stay out of room 217. He's like, I'm pretty sure there's nothing here that can hurt you, but just stay out of room 217. I really like this chapter, actually. I say that about every chapter, but it feels like things are actually happening now. So they get a big tour of the hotel, and in the big penthouse suite thing, Danny sees an apparition of some brain matter or something splattered on the wall. I imagine somebody killed themselves there. I don't know. And the place is just kind of creepy, and it's fun to see it through Danny's eyes. Chapter 13 was it was just very, nothing happened. I think it was called The Doorstep, and literally they were just on the doorstep, and they said goodbye to everybody, and they drove away, and then they were like, all right, let's start this adventure. So yeah.
Wow, those were some great videos we just watched together.
That was I'm blown away.
Yeah.
Honestly, at your presence.
We have some great talent working for us.
Yeah, we do. We're such dorks. People are watching, we think we're so funny, and people watching this are like, who are these guys? And they just stop laughing at themselves. Quick, just any initial thoughts on this section of the book, Mr. Jordan?
So I had a question. Have you heard anything about this story before? Have you seen the movie or anything?
I've never seen the movie,
okay.
But kind of like Carrie, it's the kind of thing that I don't know where I've heard it, but I kind of know what it's about.
Gotcha.
And I saw the Simpsons episode, the Halloween special episode, where they do the shinning, and it's sort of like a parody of The Shining. I don't know should we say it or not? It's a big spoiler, but a certain.
Red Rum? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, Red Rum?
Yeah.
No, that's not what I was talking about necessarily.
Okay.
But I think it's fairly obvious Red Rum is, it's a country in. I'm just kidding. It's a country in Southeast Asia. No.
We go there. It's such a twist. Such a twist. I just have a really nice vacation.
They start in Colorado, and there's a portal in the basement of the hotel, and they show up in
science fiction. It's weird. It goes to a different place, but we're enjoying it so far. So.
And then they end in Narnia. No, Red Drum is murder backwards, and that's the word that Danny keeps seeing, like in his mind, right?
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, you know what I really liked about this section is we kind of figure out why it's called The Shining. I've never known that. I've always wondered, like, why is it called The Shining? It's sort of it seems odd, you know?
Yeah.
But The Shining, that phraseology comes from this guy. He's he's a black guy, the chef, and he's sort of got like a Southern, what do you call it? I'm going to sound racist.
Ball?
Yeah. He's like, you shine on, boy, or whatever. I don't know.
No,
I'm going to cut that out of the video.
Southern, okay.
No, I won't. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's like Danny was describing it, like normally you see these chefs as like someone who wears this big tall hat, like kind of pudgy round guy, pencil thin mustache, like really
not necessarily friendly.
Yeah. Serious. Yeah.
But this guy how do you say his name? Halloran?
Halloran? That's what I thought.
Halloran? I don't know. But yeah, this guy, he senses in Danny this sort of supernatural power, and he has it himself. And it's kind of nice as a reader. You get a lot of things explained to you. And he sort of tells Danny, yeah, some people have this power, some people don't. It's not very common or whatever. And we learn that Danny is like really powerful, like just sort of naturally. And he doesn't know how to control it or anything like that. But Halloran is like impressed and almost sort of scared at like Danny's potential, right? And yeah, he says that like basically he shines or whatever. It's just like his word for it. So that's where the Shining title comes from this guy's sort of dialect phraseology. But I thought it was interesting. And he said, so Halloran gives him like a tour of the kitchen. And this was the main thing that I was mostly interested in. Something that I've learned somewhat recently about reading is like the importance of setting a mood and keeping like a consistent mood throughout a book. Mm-hmm. And if you pay attention to that, every time, especially Wendy, the mom, I noticed, every time it's in her perspective, she's always seeing like the negative in things. Like he's showing them the kitchen and he's like, oh, you have all this food. And she's like, oh, I guess we won't starve to death. Like she's thinking about starving. And then like, oh yeah, the road is going to be closed off. And then she's like, oh, what if Danny breaks a leg? Or what if Jack falls and hits his head? And she's always thinking of these negative things. And I think it serves to like set the mood, but it also serves as foreshadowing. Because I mean, we know something bad's going to happen and they're going to be closed off, stuck in this hotel. So I thought that was just a good touch, you know, like I feel like if a less experienced writer, like if I was writing this, I would mess that all up. I would just be like, and then they got to know the hotel, you know, and it was like, but he's giving us all these little tidbits of like this doom and gloom kind of thing, but it's not too much. You could sort of breeze through it and not even really think about it. But then later, I feel like when bad things start happening, it's just going to be like, it's going to be a natural progression.
A bunch of little ups and downs that lead to like the big up and down sort of thing.
Yeah. So that was one thing I liked about this section.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Like when they're traveling up to the outlet, like their car's having a really hard time even making it up to the place. Like it's barely holding on there, almost breaking down and everything. And they're like, they said like in the earlier section that when it snows, like the pass is closed. So if anything bad happens, they're not going to have any access to the outside area. Yeah. Very
they keep pointing out, you know, you're not going to have access. If something goes wrong, you're screwed. Basically, it's not like, oh, you get to be here alone all winter. It's like you're isolated, you're in danger, kind of thing. Right. And I feel like it's mostly Wendy thinking that way. Jack, maybe a little bit, but not quite as much. Yeah. Oh, we should.
What?
Yeah,
Sorry,
tell me. No, good sir. You go ahead.
Okay. Just a connection I made is The Shining also,
Wait.
I think
Okay, go ahead.
because I don't think people have got it. But thank you for
Yeah.
context. In Carrie, she kind of has a shining ability too, right?
Well,
She
that's
can
something that I've sort of wondered
minds
about.
sort of thing.
Sorry, say that again. What?
I said she can like read minds or talk to people without
Yeah.
sort of that ability.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because once I found out that like The Shining was the name of this sort of, for lack of a better word, the magic of this book, I thought the same thing. But then in Carrie, they said it only happened with girls. That it was a female recessive trait or something like that. And I wonder if that's if well, I guess there's a few different possibilities. One is like they're two separate things, that The Shining and Carrie's power are just not related. Another is that the people who said it's a female trait were wrong, or possibly Stephen King just hadn't really planned this book. Because I know he pretty much is what do they call it? Like he doesn't really plan his books out. He just kind of starts writing and sees where it goes.
Yeah.
So probably when he wrote that in Carrie, he wasn't foreseeing this, I would imagine. So maybe they are connected and that's just sort of like a mistake in the story. I don't know.
I did. So one other thing that I noticed though is when Halloran was talking, when we first started this book, we are like, oh, Colorado, it has nothing to do with the other two books, which were in Maine. But he had one sentence in there that said he was a cook on Long Lake in Maine. So he was in Maine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah. And I looked it up. It's about like 100 miles away from where Chamberlain's supposed to be.
I wonder if we're going to see more connections there. Huh. Yeah, I totally missed that. Speaking of Halloran, I don't know. Something we totally missed, I forgot to mention earlier, when he is talking to Danny. So he gives him like the tour and stuff, and then he asks Danny to come out to his car. And he sits with Danny in his car for a while. And me as a parent, I'm like, what the heck are they doing letting their kids sit in this strange guy's car?
Oh, I thought the same thing too.
But this is like, I think it's the 70s, right? Or early 80s. So it's, I don't know, times were different, I guess.
It's interesting though, like you can see the time difference of like it's totally an innocent thing, but if that was written today or if that happened today, it'd be like, no, thank you.
Like, we just met you. What are you doing? How old is Danny? He's like 10? 12? Yeah. He's younger than 12, right? He's little. He's pretty little.
10 or 11, I think.
Like, what are you doing with my kid in your car for like a while? I imagine they were probably in the car for like at least 15 or 20 minutes. They talked for a while. But anyway, that's beside the point. Halloran tells him, this hotel has so much history and bad things have happened there. And he tells him, don't worry, nothing that you see can hurt you. Like, you're going to see crazy things because you have the Shining. And then he tells him not to go in a certain room. Do you remember which one it was?
217.
217. He told him, don't go in there. And he doesn't really tell him why. He's like sort of on the edge of telling him, but then he's just like, yeah, no. It won't hurt you, but don't go in there. So apparently the way I think, probably something horrific happened in there. Maybe a murder. Ooh, a red drum or something.
Oh.
And there's some sort of residual evil spirit thing that Danny is going to be able to perceive. So Halloran warns him, don't go in there. And also in that sort of same note,
tell people about Red Rum yet, because the book hasn't.
Oh, I don't
Okay.
Well, I don't know. How obvious is it? To me, it seems a little obvious. Like,
I don't know. Well, I already knew because I saw the movie and stuff, but I thought it'd be super cool if like you had no idea what this was about. And you just like, Red Rum, what is that? And then you find out as murder that you've been reading about all this time.
Is that what it is?
Maybe.
Maybe.
This is a wild day, actually.
Could be. I mean, I did see the movie, but maybe. Red Drum is murder spelled backwards. And Danny keeps seeing that word in his mind. No, but anyway, when they're getting the tour of the whole hotel by the manager guy, he takes him all the way up to the top to the penthouse suite. And Danny sees what Halloran was talking about. He sees like blood splatter all over the wall with like chunks of brain and stuff. Like somebody shot.
Did they go into 217?
No, not 217. They went into the penthouse.
Oh, yeah.
Which actually I never even thought about it until now. That sort of shows us that whatever's in 217 is probably going to be worse than what he saw in the penthouse. What he saw in the penthouse was pretty gross. It was pretty scary. So like they're all looking out this huge scenic view out the big window, and he kind of turns and there's like basically I don't know if it said it explicitly or if I just imagined it, but like somebody had shot themselves in the head or somebody shot somebody else in the head, and there was like a huge splatter and like brains splattered on the wall. And Danny was like, holy crap. And then he like looked and then he looked back and it was gone.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was intense.
I don't know, dude. I don't know if I could. I don't know if someone offered me a job to work at a huge hotel by myself, even with my family, if I would accept that.
It would sound cool at first, but then when you think about like the actual day to day and you're alone there for months, it would get pretty creepy. It would get pretty creepy.
Yeah, dude. Especially like I was just getting this eerie feeling like when they first get there, the hotel's full of people and it seems like warm and nice and friendly. But then slowly,
there's a lot of motion and excitement. Yeah.
Yeah. Slowly as they're going back to the lobby, there's like less and less people, and you just kind of get this ominous feeling that they're stuck there and that it's going to be lonely and something bad's going to happen. And it didn't even say it. It didn't even hint at like that. It's just talking about more and more people leaving and how big this empty space is.
That sense of isolation, that sense of emptiness. Yeah. Man, he's so dang good at setting a mood, man. So, yeah. And then basically at the end of this part of the book, everyone leaves and the Torrance family they're alone in the hotel. What else? Was there anything? There wasn't anything really scary. Just sort of the brain blood splatter on the wall in the penthouse. But you know what? We keep getting reminded, the custodian caretaker guy keeps reminding Jack that he needs to like check the boiler once or twice a day or whatever, because it'll creep up. The pressure will keep building and it'll like blow up or whatever. And we've seen that, I think, in the first section, and then we saw it again here. And I feel like I wonder if maybe that's foreshadowing as well. Like maybe Jack is going to neglect that and it's going to cause an explosion or something like that. Like there's going to be problems in the future. I have no idea. But it feels like that's, it's being hinted at that could be an issue.
Yeah, just a bunch of little stuff adding to the tension to make it just more and more uncomfortable.
And even the way the guy says it is creepy, because he tells Jack, he doesn't say the boiler, the pressure creeps up. He says she creeps. He's like, she creeps. Don't forget, she creeps. And the way like he said, like, I don't know, the way I read it, I was just like, ooh, that's like, why would you phrase it that way? It's kind of like extra creepy. Get it? Creepy, creeps. I don't know.
I get it.
I'm gonna sip my water with my pinky up.
Right.
That was such a
fancy. Dang, guys, look at him. It's a fancy man right there.
Quite distinguished and elegant. That's true. Not everybody can be as distinguished and mature as I.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
I was trying to fake choke and then I kind of real choked myself. I inhaled a little water. I was trying to be funny.
Beautiful.
I love you, dude. It's so fun to talk to you. Oh, we should say real quick for the video, for the cameras. Next section is called The Wasp's Nest. So join us next time in 1 week. JK. Like always, we'll be here reporting on the most recent updates of this book. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Signing off.
Tune in next time. Handsome Jay and the Flea. I don't know why I called myself the Flea. I was trying to think of it some sort of denigrating title. Anyway, cool.
Sweet, dude. Remember in high school when
No.
like I'd be on the phone, be on the phone with you, and then you wouldn't hang up until I hung up. Remember that?
We never dated, Jordan.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I think that
you
might
gave
have been
me
just a
signals
dream.
then. No, you gave me mixed signals then.